Hi Janine, hi Nicole.
Hello.
Hello. Oh Janine, I can hear you. I think you're still
I'm sorry. Yes, I see it now. Good
awesome.
evening. How are you?
I'm good. Good evening. Good.
Great.
Hi Laudemiro.
I'm with you. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right.
Good.
Hello, all.
Good.
Good place to put this.
All right, let's start. It's awesome to meet you all today, and I'm so happy to, conduct this workshop today. So before we start, I'll just lead us in prayer. Um, all right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, King of Glory, thank you for this time, oh God. Thank you for this time to learn. Father, Lord Jesus, I'm just praying that, Lord, you will just give us wisdom, oh God, as we learn how to revise fragments and run on sentences, oh God. I pray that, Lord, you give us the grace, oh Lord, to remember all we would learn, oh God. I pray that, Lord, you give us the strength to apply all we would learn today, oh God. For in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Yes, again, it is awesome to meet you all. And so, one other thing we should all notice that you should feel free to ask me any questions at any time. Feel free to stop me if you have questions while I um, conduct this session. And again, this session will be more, it will be a little practical and interactive. At some point, it will be interactive. And so just make sure you take whatever you want to take out from this time. Yes, so today we'll be talking about revising fragments and run-on sentences. My name is Golden Ainor. You can call me Golden. Um, I'm also a student here at Lancaster Bible College. I'm taking my Masters of Divinity here at Lancaster Bible College. So here now, the first thing we're looking at is this, right? But since we'll be looking at the idea of fragments and run on sentences, the most important thing for us to understand is that we have to gain the knowledge of the basics of grammar before even learning about fragments and run on sentences, right? So we have to learn the basics of constructing a grammatical sentence before learning a fragment or before learning about what a fragment or run on sentence looks like. All right. So, again, this workshop aims to show you how to find and revise fragments and run on sentences. The goal is to help you construct articulated and grammatical sentences. You will only be able to revise fragments and run-on sentences if you are highly conversant with how a grammatical sentence looks, right? So the thing is this, don't my aim is that you don't focus on how to revise fragments and run-on sentences. Even though this workshop is about how to revise fragment and run-on sentences, the goal should be how to create grammatical sentences, right? So basically, don't try to learn how an ungrammatical sentence look, but learn how a grammatical sentence, right? So it should be grammatical. How a grammatical sentence looks, right? I think you all must have heard this before, that like some of this, I think they are bankers, right? So when they show them how or the original currency looks like, they put them in a room to learn how the original currency looks like, so that they will be able to know when they see a fake currency, right? So they expose them to the original currency so that they will be able to know how to recognize a fake currency. So in this session, I'm going to be exposing you to how a grammatical sentence looks like, right? So that you be able to discover how a fragment and run-on sentence look like. So now, 4 areas of concern in this session, we'll be looking at a refresher on phrases and clauses. We'll be looking at a refresher on how to revise fragments, then how to revise run-ons, and then we'd also be looking at revising an essay for grammatical errors, like how do you actually find and revise the fragments and run-ons. So we're looking at the procedures, but that will be our last. This here will be our last discussion for tonight. Um, so refresher on phrases and clauses, noun and verb refresher, right? So what's a noun, right? We all know what a noun is. A noun is a word that names a person, place, or thing, right? And a verb is an action word, right? Basics, we all know that. Phrases, right? So what's a phrase? A phrase is a group of words that functions as a unit within a sentence. A phrase will always have a head or head word, but it is still an incomplete sentence. Now, in this session, you'll be learning about a lot of terms. Like you're gonna be exposed to a lot of terms like phrases, clauses, determiners, prepositional phrases, and all that. But I don't want you to learn those terms, right? I just want you to focus on how to apply those terms, or how to apply the concept of those terms. So basically, you don't need to know how to define a phrase. All you just need is to know how a phrase looks like, right? And I'm sure there are some students here who have never even heard the word phrase before, but they've written a lot of phrases, right? So far you're in this workshop, I'm sure you've written a lot of phrases, but maybe you just never knew that you were writing a phrase. So sorry, please, 1 minute. All right. So a phrase. So a phrase has a head word, right? And then sometimes a phrase would always combine what we call a determiner and sometimes a noun, right? So it all depends on the kind of phrase you're looking at. So we have what we call the first type of phrase here is called the noun phrase, right? Like for instance, a cat, right? A cat here is a noun phrase. So the cat there, you can see a cat. So the here is what we call an article, right? And then the cat here is a noun. So the article plus the noun equals the noun phrase. A cat is a noun phrase, right? We have the boy, right? The here is what we call a determiner, right? And then boy here underlined is a noun. So determiner plus noun is a noun phrase. An umbrella, that's an article. Umbrella is a noun phrase. So article plus noun equals noun phrase. The bullet. So that's determiner and noun, right? The is a determiner, bullet is a noun. That's determiner plus noun equals noun phrase. All right. So do we all get that? It's good. All right. So also a noun head word can be preceded by an adjective, right? Or a possessive determiner. Now let's go back to this, right? These examples we've seen here, I'm just going to ask you all this question. Does this look like, so if I just write in my, if you all are my professors right now, and then in one sentence, I want to write a sentence, and then I write a cat, period. And then I put period, a cat. Is that a complete sentence?
No.
No, exactly. That's good. If I just write the boy,
No.
period, that's not a complete sentence, right? And I'm sure it sounds like I'm asking a very vague question, right? I'm sure you're like, why is he even asking me all these questions? Like, I know this already, right? But then that's the building block, right? Normally, when we talk about fragments, right? Fragments. When we talk about fragments, I've seen students that will just write a cat, period, and go right straight to the next sentence. And then they'll think it's a sentence. But then if you write a cat and then period, that's a fragment right there. This here is a fragment. But it is a noun phrase, but it's a fragment. It's not a complete sentence. Right? So a noun phrase can never be a complete sentence. But then this is the basics of a noun phrase. This is just the basics. Now let's go to the next level of a noun phrase. Now there are times that a noun phrase can, there are times that before you write your noun, right, you would have an article and an adjective, right? And so if you have an article plus an adjective plus the noun, right, that will make up a noun phrase. For instance, the traditional wedding. That's the article, traditional, describing the wedding. So that's an adjective. And then the noun, wedding, right, equals a noun phrase. But then if I write it, imagine I represent the traditional wedding as a sentence. Is this a complete sentence? Is this a sentence? Yes or no?
No.
No. That's not that's that's not a sentence. That's just a noun phrase. Right? This is just a noun phrase. The dead lion, article plus adjective plus noun. So A here is article, dead is an adjective, right? So an adjective modifies a noun or describes a noun. So dead, describing the lion, adjective, and lion here is the noun. That's a noun phrase. So sometimes article plus adjective plus noun would always equal a noun phrase. So a dead lion here does this look like a complete sentence? No, right? So it's just a noun phrase, but it's not a sentence, right? So our kitchen here, so our here is a possessive, is what we call a possessive determiner. So a possessive determiner actually illustrates ownership, right? So our kitchen, like my kitchen, right? Our kitchen. But so this is a plural possessive determiner, our kitchen. So that's possessive determiner plus noun is a noun phrase. Same here, my spoon. Possessive determiner plus noun equals noun phrase, right? So, but then if I just write our kitchen as our kitchen, right, and then period, Is this a sentence? No, right? So we need to be careful about that. I know some of us might look like, oh, I don't make these kinds of mistakes, right? But you just need to be careful. There are times when we are writing, we might become just so excited about what we are writing, and then we make these kinds of mistakes. Or there are times when maybe we are writing an assignment in the last minute, right? Or maybe we've procrastinated, or we're just so busy and then wanted to submit, and we tried submitting the assignment last minute, right? There is a possibility that we would make these kinds of mistakes, all right? So then we have that policeman. So that's a demonstrative plus a noun, all right? Demonstrative illustrates. A demonstrative is used when you are pointing to a noun, right? Or when you're directing focus to a noun. So when you say that police, meaning that you're pointing to that, just imagine that you're pointing to a policeman, right? And then you say that police. So that's demonstrative plus noun. That's noun. That would be a noun phrase. So these expensive sneakers. That's a demonstrative. That's an adjective. Expensive. Talking about the sneakers equals a noun phrase. So this is a noun phrase. These expensive sneakers, that's a noun phrase. But then if I just write these expensive sneakers, like for instance, if I just write this, right, this expensive sneaker, put them at the mall. So these expensive sneakers, I bought them in the mall. Now look at this. These expensive sneakers, I bought them in the mall. So there are two sentences here, right? So this is the first one. I mean, there are two statements here. This is the first one, and this is the second one. But would you call this a sentence? I bought them in the mall. Anyone?
It's an incomplete sentence.
Yeah, that's a complete sentence. Correct. Thank you. But would you call this a complete sentence? These expensive sneakers.
No.
No, it's just a phrase. It's just a noun phrase. But then later on, we'll talk about the reason this is not a sentence. We're going to talk about that later. I just want you all to be conversant with these structures, right? So, but I'm glad you all already know this. And remember, this is just a refresher. I'm assuming that you all know this, honestly, all right? So, prepositional phrases, all right? Let's talk about prepositional phrases. So a preposition is a word that connects nouns to locations, directions, position, and time. Right? Examples of prepositions are on, off, from, under, across, after, before, along, with, into, by, at, without, and there's so much more prepositions, so many prepositions. So, however, a prepositional phrase, or however, prepositional phrases have two parts, right? A preposition followed by an object of the preposition, right? So, this here should be this. So, a preposition followed by an object of a preposition. The object of a preposition could be a noun phrase or a noun. However, note that a prepositional phrase is an incomplete sentence, right? So when we write a sentence like across the hall, across the hall. So across here is the preposition. The hall here is the noun phrase. So that will be preposition plus noun phrase equals prepositional phrase. But then would you call across the hall a complete sentence? So if I just put period here, would you call this a complete sentence?
No.
No. Across the hall is just, you're going to ask yourself, across the hall doing what? Like, right? So it's incomplete. So, let's look here. In the car, what's the preposition here? Can someone tell me what's the preposition here? In the car.
In.
The car.
No, what's the preposition?
In.
In. Very good. What's the noun phrase?
The car.
The car. Very good. So when you have in the car, so that's preposition plus noun phrase equals prepositional phrase. But let's imagine I just put a period here and say in the car, and I represent it as a sentence. Is that a complete sentence?
No.
Exactly. But as a professor here even at LBC, you'll be surprised that I've seen many students just write sentences like this. In the car, period. And then they go straight to the next sentence. All right? And it's not because they don't understand the concept. Right? It's because they are not properly revising their work. They are not reading their work over. All right? So even as students, you have to be aware, you have to be vigilant. Even if you think you're a strong writer, you still have to be vigilant of these mistakes. Right? Now, under the pulpit, what's the preposition here?
Under.
Under, and then the pulpit. Preposition plus noun phrase. Yeah. So what if I just write under the pulpit as a sentence? That's an incomplete sentence. But then I can just say he drank. Okay, he drank. Let me just say. So what if I say he hid under the pulpit? Is that a complete sentence?
Yes.
Exactly, that's a complete sentence. Right? So we'll go into all these details later. All right. So that's it. All right. So before the rain, incomplete sentence. That's prepositional phrase. Through the armed robbers. Through the armed robbers. Right. If I just write through the armed robbers, like I'm sure it will sound so confusing, right? So after their long trip, right? So here, so what's the preposition here? Can someone help me?
After.
After. Very good. So what's the noun phrase here? What's the noun phrase?
Long trip.
Huh?
Long trip.
Not long
Their
trip.
long trip.
Exactly, their long trip. That's good. That's good. Right? Because remember what we talked about, right? The possessive,
Yeah.
right? Possessive, and then we also have the adjective, and then we have the noun. Right? So that's good. That's good. Again, you all recognize this already. I hope you all are not bored because I know you know this, right? So now verb phrases. Verb phrases. So the head word for a verb phrase is a verb, right? So basically, we don't necessarily have verb phrases structured in the way noun phrases and prepositional phrases are structured, right? So as you can see here in prepositional phrases, we have in the car, like just three words, right? Joined together in when we go to the noun phrase, we have words like my spoon, two words joined together. But in most cases, a verb phrase could be a single word, right? It could be a single verb, right? Words like danced, went, and all the verbs you could think of, all the doing words you could think of, right? So Miriam danced, Kim went, Danced. This is that's danced here is a verb phrase. Went here is a verb phrase. True is a verb phrase, right? Bought is a verb phrase. Sad is a verb phrase. But now the important thing you have to know about a verb is this: a verb comes, or we would say a verb functions in three ways, in three critical ways. That's the transitive, intransitive, and linking. Transitive, intransitive, and linking. So what's an intransitive verb? An intransitive verb, these are verbs that can stand all by themselves in their phrases, and they can possibly take prepositional phrases. Right? Again, like I said, you don't need to learn these terms, honestly. But if you want to, that's fine. You don't need to, right? The major focus is how you apply these terms. So intransitive are verbs that can stand all by themselves in their phrases, and they can possibly take prepositional phrases. For example, Miriam danced. Miriam danced. Is this a sentence or not? Can someone help me out?
Repeat that again.
Miriam danced. Do you
It
think
No,
is.
no, it's incomplete.
all right? So I hear someone saying incomplete. I hear someone saying complete. So the person who said incomplete, why is it incomplete?
Um, I mean, I guess Miriam danced. Miriam danced. I guess I would probably complete it more. I wouldn't just say Miriam danced. Where did Miriam dance? How did Miriam
Exactly.
dance?
Exactly. That's a good point. Very good. And I'm going to come back to that. So the person who said complete, why do you think it's complete?
Because we have there noun preposition plus a verb. The verb is an action verb, so it's telling us what Mary did, and if all that's all we need to know, it's complete.
Exactly. So
That's
it's
good.
complete, right? I think you explained it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Explained it
Yeah.
so well. Thank you. So, and again, thank you, Jenin, for the point you also raised, because that's also going to help us right now. So Miriam danced. Jenin, you said the sentence there is missing two points, right? You're saying it's not explaining how she was dancing, right? And it's not
Right.
explaining where she, or maybe where she was dancing,
Right.
right? But again, like Laudemira said,
Right. I
that's not
understand
really
that.
important. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
good.
Yes.
So now that takes us to where I said, and they can possibly take prepositional phrases,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I say Miriam danced in the car, right? It's telling us where she danced.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's not necessary,
Right. Because it's
right?
already complete. Yes.
Exactly. So this Miriam dance here is a complete sentence, right? Because all you need to know, or sorry, because all you need to add to that sentence is a prepositional phrase. Or you can say, because all you need to know is the how and the where of the verb, right? The how did she dance, or the where did she dance? Or even the when did she
Mm-hmm.
dance, right?
Right.
So how, where, and when. So that's what makes it intransitive, and that's what makes this sentence complete, right? It's a complete sentence. So Kim went. Kim went. Complete or incomplete?
Mm.
Incomplete.
I would
Incomplete.
say incomplete.
Incomplete. Yes, incomplete. Yes. Okay, you're correct, but it could also be complete,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
It could just be Kim went, right? Because Kim went to where, right? So since it's
Yeah.
talking about where, then this is complete. All you just need to know is that Kim went,
Mm. Okay.
right? But then it could also, so this is also confusing too, because it could be in some ways transitive, because we'll be coming to this later. Went could be transitive, meaning that it might also, you might need a noun. It could take a noun, right? It could also require a what question, what I call the what question. What question, right? Could require what question, right? Sorry. What question, yeah.
And that would be
So,
like a verb, adding a verb on there, or
Yeah, it could be adding not really, right? So when I say what question, I mean that you must it only works for when you're defining when you are defining the place of action,
hmm,
right? So Kim went home. So the place of action is already defined,
mhm.
right? So you don't need to, but that's where the word went is also kind of confusing. So, but you can also say Kim went to the house, right? This is also talking about a where this is here is a prepositional phrase.
Mhm.
So went can take a prepositional phrase and it can also take a noun, a single noun, right? So those are one of those those are one of those tricky words,
Yes.
right?
In that case, would be went home, right?
Right. That's what I was saying. Went home.
Yes, went
Proper
home.
English there.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, you all are wow. Wow, that's good revision right there. Yeah. So, now let's look at the next one. John
Oh,
sat.
I'm sorry. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm just Linda. I'm driving, so I can't look at it. But can you explain that when you said Kim went? Did you say that can be complete?
Yeah, it could be
So could
both.
you add something? You could add something before that because when you put a period there, like Kim went, like that's not explaining anything to anybody.
Yes. So yeah, but then the thing is this: you could say Kim went, right? And
Hmm.
that's fine. That's all the information. That could be all the information we need. That Kim went, right? Depending
Um.
on the context, right? That just still
Okay.
depends on the context. Again, but like I said,
Okay.
went is a tricky word, right? So just
Uh-huh.
think about it in terms of the verb that can take a prepositional phrase, right? So what you should think of is, can this verb take a prepositional phrase? So let's look at this first example. Miriam danced in the car. This here is a prepositional phrase, right?
Right.
Same thing. Kim went to, or you can even, let's not use to, inside the car. This is a prepositional phrase, right?
Yes, and I understand that. Yes. Yes.
Exactly. So if that's the case, it means that if a verb can take a prepositional phrase, it also presupposes that the prepositional phrase is unnecessary.
The
But when I say
Miriam dance,
unnecessary,
yeah, the Miriam dance is clear.
yeah,
That I can see um more than Kim went. Like Kim
Me
went,
too.
it leaves you
I feel that. Yes.
hanging.
Yes.
Like
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Just it does to me. It does seem incomplete as well because I'm like, went where?
exactly.
And and I would like to know if what would you add before that? If you're going to stop at Kim went.
Before what? I'm sorry.
When you say you're going to stop at Kim went,
Uh
you're going to
huh.
add something before that, even if you don't add nothing
You mean
after that, like Kim went to
before? Do you mean before
before
went?
Kim went. Yes, before Kim. When you say Kim went,
Uh
and then you
huh.
put a period right there, what you adding before that? I'm just saying for someone else to understand why you say Kim went.
Do you mean a
You see what I'm saying?
sentence prior
Do you mean
to? Because I don't think you
Yeah,
can put
cause
anything in
No,
between
you
the
don't need to
fragment.
put any
cause
sentence before Kim. You don't need any sentence there. You don't need any sentence here.
uh huh.
You don't need any.
No,
right?
Miriam dance is like she said, completely understandable.
Yes.
Kim went. I'm just for myself writing a paragraph and Kim went. I'm gonna get questioned like
Yeah,
Kim went.
exactly. So the thing is this, right? Even this is just a description. Everything we are doing
Okay.
right now is a description. So you don't need to write it in your essay, honestly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right? You don't need to. Right? We're just describing. Right? And again, like I said, the word went, if you check any textbook, everybody says that word is so tricky. Right? And
Mhm.
that was why I used it. So yeah, so just you don't need to use it. If it's going to be confusing, if you know it's going to be confusing to you as a writer and it's going to be confusing to your audience, just don't use it. Right? I'm sorry, I didn't get what's your name. You at the person asking the question. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Linda Simon.
Oh, Linda, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for your
Yes.
questions.
You are good.
All right. So, and then we have John Sart, right? John Sart. Right? Again, this might also look a little bit tricky, but then since it takes a prepositional phrase, since it just takes a prepositional phrase, um you don't need to put another statement after the verb, right? So John sat, period, is a complete sentence, right? It's a complete sentence. So, but then you can always add a prepositional phrase. John sat in the car, right? The school bus maneuvered through the apartment building. The school bus maneuvered through the apartment building. So if you look at that sentence, can someone tell me what's the verb in this sentence?
Maneuver.
Maneuver.
Maneuver. Thank you. And then if that's the verb, what's the prepositional phrase in this sentence?
Through the apartment building.
Very good. Through the apartment building. Right? So we have the school bus maneuvered. But what if I just take this out? The school bus maneuvered. Is that a complete sentence?
Yes.
Yeah, it still does.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tracy, yes or no? No. Tracy is saying no. Who else is saying yes? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So it is a complete sentence. Yes, it is a complete sentence.
Where they maneuver to.
Right? The school bus maneuvered is a complete sentence because it takes a prepositional phrase. Right? This is a prepositional phrase. So the thing is this, right? Now, let me explain what's happening here. So when it comes to grammar, grammar works with rules, not feelings. Right? Let's just make that, right? So in grammar, think about the rules, not not how you feel. But then when you're writing your essay, you must make sure that every sentence you write, you understand that sentence and your audience understands the sentence, right? So if a sentence does not sound good to your ear, it means it will not sound good to your audience's ear, right? So, but then on a foundational level, grammar works with rules, right? I know if I say the school bus maneuvered, it doesn't sound good, it doesn't feel good, right? But then but one thing is this, because in sorry, but one thing is this, the grammar rule makes us understand that because the verb maneuvered can take a prepositional phrase, right? It means that when you have a statement like the school bus maneuvered, right? It means that you don't need any other statement after the verb, right? For the word maneuvered here, it only means that you don't need any other statement after the verb. It's not necessary. Based on rules, not okay. Let me just use the the terms based on rules, not semantics. So when I say semantics, I mean like it's based on everything we are doing right now is just based on what grammar requires. But when you are writing your essay and you feel like this does not sound good, do not write it. But on a grammatical level, this is considered a complete sentence. Right? I see someone raising, I think Jamiel.
Hi. Yeah. So from my understanding, it's noun is a person, place, or thing.
Yeah,
Phrase is talking about like a statement, pretty much.
very well.
And then the verb is the action word. So
Yes.
the noun phrase is pretty much just a prepositional. It's the same thing as a prepositional phrase, pretty much.
No, a noun phrase is not the same thing as a prepositional phrase. So, like we said before, right? A prepositional phrase contains a preposition, right? A preposition and what we call the object of preposition, which could be a noun phrase. So, preposition plus noun phrase is a prepositional phrase. So let's look at this. Sorry. This here is a prepositional phrase. Through the apartment building, right? Is a prepositional phrase. Now, the preposition, now the question you're asking, why is it a prepositional phrase? That's because we have a preposition, true, and then we have the noun phrase, the apartment building. So preposition, true, plus noun phrase equals prepositional phrase. But then if you look at this place where we have the school bus, that is a noun phrase. That's just a simple noun phrase because so we have the determiner, the, plus school bus, or sorry, determiner plus adjective plus noun. Determiner plus adjective, because the school is actually describing bus in some ways, and plus noun. That would be a noun phrase. So, but since we don't have a preposition here, right? We don't have something like in the school bus, right? If it was in the school bus, this would be a prepositional phrase, right? But here we don't have in, we just have the school bus. All right, Jamiel, do you get it?
Sort of. So
Uh,
what would the preposition be? I mean, not the preposition, the possessive be.
no, I didn't. There's no possessive here. So a possessive, um, coming please.
You
So
said
since
through
no,
No,
true. True is actually a preposition.
all by itself. Okay.
Yes. But then the preposition plus noun phrase would be a prepositional phrase. Right? So that's it right there. So transitive. Now let's go to the next one, transitive verbs. We've talked about intransitive verbs. Now let's look at transitive verbs. Transitive verbs are verbs that requires a noun phrase. Right? Intransitive verb, they, let me use the word, they unnecessarily require a prepositional phrase. Right? What we just did now, unnecessarily, they require a prepositional phrase. But a transitive verb must have a noun phrase. Right? The cow threw the cart. The cow threw the cart. I don't know if that's possible, but the cow threw the cart. Right? So if you look at that sentence right there, can someone tell me what's the noun phrase? What's the noun phrase in this sentence?
I guess you can do the cow
The cow, good.
and the
What's the
cat.
Yeah, the cow and the cat. That's good. And what's the verb?
Through.
True.
Through.
Very good. Very good. Yes. So we have two noun phrases, and then we have the verb. But then we have the cow true. So now it's important for words like true, you must have a noun phrase following it. So imagine I just take this off. The cow true, period. Is that a complete sentence?
No.
No, right? It's not a complete sentence. But then when I add the cow true the cat, that's a complete sentence. But then you'll be asking, how do I know the difference between intransitive and transitive, right? The difference is also clear. Intransitive verbs always, or let me say, intransitive verbs can take prepositional phrases, but transitive verbs cannot take prepositional phrases. So what if I say the cow threw in the car? Does that make sense?
No.
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 Right? Yeah, so it has to be a noun phrase. The cow threw a cat. The lawyer bought the judges. Right? So right here we have the lawyer bought, we have noun phrase, the lawyer, noun phrase, the judges. But, so what if I have, if I remove this? The lawyer bought. Is that a complete sentence? No. What if I have the lawyer bought in the court? Does this make sense?
No.
No. Right?
No.
Exactly. Good. So the same thing, the witness slapped a judge. I hope that does not happen. So the witness slapped the judge. So we have the witness slap. Sorry. Yeah, so can someone tell me in this sentence what's the verb?
Slap.
Exactly.
Slap.
Good. Very good. All right. So that there is the verb. So now this is a noun phrase here, and we all know this is a noun phrase. All right. So the cat from the lab entered the oven. The cat from the lab entered the oven. Right? So can someone tell me what's the noun phrase here?
The cat
The cat.
and the oven.
And the oven. The cat and the oven. Right? So that's good. And then what's the verb?
Entered.
Good. Oops. That's good. Right? But then if I say the cat from the lab entered in the house, does that make sense?
No.
No. So so this kind transitive verbs needs to take a noun, right? So then we have what we call linking verbs. This is the last one. So we have intransitive, transitive, and linking verb. So a linking verb link the subject of the verb with a description of the subject. Now I would explain what I mean by subject, right? When we say subject of a sentence, the subject of a sentence is the actor of a verb. The subject of a sentence is the actor of the main verb of the sentence. So, for instance, when we say the cow threw a cat, who is the main actor of this sentence? Or what's the main actor?
The cow.
Yeah, the cow is the main actor. So, if the cow is the main actor, right, the cow will be called a subject or the subject of the sentence. So if you look at this, the witness slapped a judge, right? Can someone help me? What's the subject of that sentence?
Witness.
Good. All right, so that's it. Now the cat from the lab entered the house. What's the subject?
The
Someone,
cat.
The
the
cat.
cat. That's good. The cat. But then remember, right? We're saying the actor. You have to note that it's not just the cat, it's the cat from the lab.
Lab.
Do you get it? All right? The cat from the lab is the subject. So that's the subject, and this is, like you all said, the verb. And sometimes you all can learn this later on after this workshop. The house, normally we'll call it the object. I mean the direct object. But you don't need to learn that in this workshop. So now linking verb. Now the next one is linking verb. So what are linking verb? They link the subject of the verb with a description of the subject. For example, she is sad. The word is, sorry, the word is here is what we call an auxiliary verb, right? So she is sad. Sad here is describing she. So the verb here is helping the word, or sometimes we call it the adjective sad, to describe she, right? So that's it. So when you have sad, so like I said, yes, sad is describing she, right? We have here the food tastes bad, right? Can someone tell me what's the verb in this sentence?
Taste.
Can
Taste.
someone, very good, everyone. So what's the subject in this sentence?
The
The
food.
Very good. The food is the subject, right? So the word bad here describes the food,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's just it. But then what if I just write the tastes bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound like a complete sentence? Tastes bad.
No.
No. No.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Right? The food doesn't sound like a complete sentence. All right? So we have to also be careful. My principal is my mom, right? Oh, sorry, let me just put the principal is my mom, right? Is here is helping us to see that okay, my mom is describing the principal. The same person who is the principal is the same person who is the mom, right? So Mary feels tired. Mary feels tired. Right? Can someone tell me what's the verb in this sentence?
Feels.
Feels. Good. The word feels is helping the word tired to describe Mary. Right? The boy appeared surprised. Right? So what's the verb here?
Appeared.
Appeared. And what's the subject?
The boy.
The boy. Very
The
good. So
boy.
yeah, so surprised is explaining the boy.
Mm-hmm.
So there are few words like that. So maybe you can go learn on your own later on. You can go learn about linking verbs. There are just few verbs that helps link a subject with with an adjective, or sometimes we call it link a subject with a complement, right? Like sad here normally would say it functions as a complement, or would just say it's an adjective, right? So any questions so far before we go to clauses? Yeah, very good. I knew it. You all know all this already. So we just keep going on. But remember the point is this, right? We still make mistakes in these areas. We would make mistakes in these areas if we don't revise our work. All right. So before understanding a clause, it is important to note the definition of a simple sentence. A simple sentence is a statement that contains a subject. We already talked about what a subject is, right? A subject and a predicate, right? So let's think about it. So now the question you'll be asking is, what is a predicate? A predicate is a verb plus every other item in the sentence that comes after the verb. A predicate is the verb plus every other word that comes after the verb. So it could be every other word there means that, like I said, the predicate could be verb, that's V. It could be plus NP, noun phrase, because sometimes a noun phrase could come after the verb. It could be a prepositional phrase, it could be an adjective or a transitive verb, right? So we have here a clause. Sorry, we have here a complete sentence, right? The boy slept, right? That's a complete sentence right there. So that's the boy slept. So the subject is the boy, the predicate is slept. The boy sang in the house. The boy is the subject, right? Sang in the house is the predicate, right? We have the girl swallowed the gum. Can someone tell me what's the predicate in this sentence?
Swallowed the gum.
Swallowed the gum. Very good. That's the predicate right there. And the girl is what? What would we call the girl?
Verb. Noun phrase.
It's a noun phrase, but what's it?
Oh, the subject.
It's the subject. Yeah, so we say that. So basically in grammar, it's divided into, each word in a sentence is divided into what we call the form and the function, right? So we say that the form here is a noun phrase, but the function is the subject, right? So we also have here, the girl is beautiful. The girl is beautiful. So what's the predicate in this sentence?
Is beautiful.
Exactly. It's beautiful. That's the predicate, right? And the girl is the subject, right? So we all know this, right? A sentence must have a subject and a predicate. Very important. When your professor is reading your work, the professor is looking for sentences with a subject and a predicate, right? And then we'll go on to the next one. So now what's a clause, right? So now we're talking about clauses. So what's a clause? A clause is a group of words containing the subject and the predicate, right? The clause can also be a unit of meaning in a sentence. A clause is a group of words containing the subject and predicate, right? So I'll explain that further. So to understand what a clause is, we need to understand the types of clauses, right? So, but let's look at this example. My yard is quiet because most of the birds flew south. It feels like there are two statements joined together, right? Can you all see it? This just feels like there are two statements joined together. So we have my yard is quiet as one statement because most of the birds flew south. So we have my yard is now quiet. My yard there is a noun phrase or the subject, and then is now quiet is the predicate. Right? Let me just change this to S. Right? So that's S plus predicate. So this is a clause. My yard is now quiet. Now another clause in this sentence is because most of the birds flew south. Now most of the birds flew south. That's another clause. That's subject. Sorry. Yeah, that's subject and predicates. So we have most of the birds as a subject, and then we have flew, verb, plus every other word that comes after the verb, like south. That's predicate. Right? So in this place here, can someone tell me, can someone point me the predicates? Can someone show me the predicates?
Is new.
Is new, yes.
Wants the latest car model.
Wants the latest car model. Very correct. Very correct. So is new, can you remember? That's like the verb. So we have is new, that's verb, plus every other word that comes after the verb. And then we have my dad wants the latest car. Verb wants the latest car. That's a predicate. And then we have a noun phrase. That's although our car, and then another noun phrase, my dad. Any questions? All right. So let's go to types of clauses. So we have independent and dependent clauses, right? An independent clause. So now this is where it gets interesting. So this is where these are the subjects here that will lead us to how to correct fragments and run-on sentences. Although we've actually touched bases on that in some areas. So we have what we call independent clauses and dependent clause. So this, I need you all to take this part very serious. Like this is the most important part here. Right? Independent clause, independent clauses, and dependent clauses. An independent clause is also called a simple sentence. So basically, a sentence is an independent clause. Right? A complete sentence is also called an independent clause. Right? It stands on its own and expresses one complete idea. For example, my yard is now quiet. Right? So is this a complete sentence?
Yes.
Yes, my yard is now quiet. Most of the birds flew south. Is this a complete sentence?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, good. Our car is new. Complete sentence. My dad wants the latest car model. That's a complete sentence right there.
Mm-hmm.
So now, why is it a complete sentence? Can someone help me out? Can someone give me the grammatical reason why it's a complete sentence? Why are these a complete sentence? All right.
The noun phrase or the subject.
Okay.
Then the predicate.
Exactly.
Right. Or fruits, right.
Exactly. So remember, right, a complete sentence, and thank you, Janine, for that. So a complete sentence must have a noun, a subject, right, my yard,
Mm-hmm.
and a predicate.
Mm-hmm.
Get that? So that's why it's a complete sentence, right? So it's not a complete sentence because it feels good to our ears, right? It's because it follows the rule, right? Rule over feelings, right? So that's it. Um, so dependent clauses. Now let's go to dependent clauses. This is very important. A dependent clause has a subject and a verb, but cannot stand alone. Now, independent clause can stand alone. It stands alone and expresses one complete idea. But dependent clauses cannot stand alone. And they don't represent a complete idea. So it depends on another clause to be complete. Or we can say in most cases, they are also called subordinate clauses because they start with words such as after, although, because, that, whom, before, unless, when, until, wherever, whatever, how, etc. etc. So they are incomplete statements. Basically, they are incomplete statements. You can't call them a sentence. But again, one thing you should realize is this: they also have subjects and predicates, but you can't call them complete sentences because they start with words. Remember that part, such as after, although, because, that, whom, etc. Or we can say in most cases they start with subordinate conjunctions, right? They start with subordinating conjunctions.
Is it conjunctions or clauses?
I know I said clauses here. This is correct, but I'm just saying that, but these words here, right, they are called subordinating conjunctions.
Okay.
Right?
But now let me just ask you this, because isn't a conjunction like a and, but, or, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
and so now there are two types. I know that yeah, we sometimes mistake conjunctions for types of conjunctions. So there are
Got
types of conjunctions,
you.
right?
Okay. Okay.
So
Yes.
what you just mentioned, they are called coordinating conjunctions, like they join two complete sentences together,
Okay.
right? But these are subordinating conjunctions right
Okay.
here.
All right.
So when you start like a statement, I don't want to say sentence, but when you start a statement with these kinds of words, you should always suspect those sentences or those statements, right? So let's look at this. Although our car is new. Now this is a sentence right here. But is this a complete sentence? Is this a sentence?
It's not complete.
Yeah, it's not complete, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So when you say although our car is new, right? You are going to ask yourself, so what?
Right.
Right? Okay, your car is new. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So although our car is new, right? It let me just write something vague. It got damaged. Now, if I write, although our car is new, it got damaged, does that sound complete?
It sounds complete.
Yeah, it's complete.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Although our car is new. But then if I just write, although our car is new, it's an incomplete statement or sentence because I start with the word although. But remember something, it still has the subject
And the
and it
verb.
still has the predicates.
The predicate. Yeah.
All right. Get it? So now we have because most of the birds flew south. Does that sound complete?
No.
If you take
No.
out cause, it will be.
Yeah, but if you take out this,
Yeah.
it would be complete. If you take this out, it would be complete. Thank you for that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right. So that's it, right? So um so sorry please. So now let's look at this because most of the birds flew south after the boys went home until he ran away. Before they left, wherever life took him. Right? These sentences always leave us with asking, so what?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But they still have their subjects and their predicates. But because we start the statements with these subordinating conjunctions, right? It makes the sentence incomplete
Right.
or the statement, right? So the goal for every writer is to turn a dependent clause into a complete sentence by joining it with a dependent clause, right? So when you say, let's look at this, right? So we have because most of the birds flew south, right? We had that here. Can
Mm-hmm.
you say because most of the birds flew south? Because most of the birds flew south. But then you can just add my yard is now quiet because most of the birds flew south, right? Until you ran away, right? Can Nicole Nicole Roberts, can you help us complete this sentence in any way that you can? Nicole Roberts?
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Until he ran away.
No,
Oh,
sorry, I
after the
mean after
boys
the
went home,
boys. Yes.
they took a bath.
Wow, I hear
Oh,
kids at your
well,
back.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder you gave that example. So, yeah, after the boys went home, they took a bath. That's a good one. All right. So I'm gonna call on Janine Smith. Can you help me with this? Janine Smith. All right. So I'll call on Tracy. Can you help me until he ran away? So how would we complete that sentence? Anyway, you can be creative with it.
Until he ran away from home.
Okay, if you say from home, that's still another incomplete sentence. Until he ran
Okay.
away.
All right. Until he ran away from the, well, no, never mind.
But
The
remember,
store. Okay, I'm listening.
so let me give you a hint, right? You can always add something to the front. It's not necessary, it's just you
Okay.
add something to the back.
Okay.
You can always add a statement to the front.
He was safe until he ran away from home.
Yeah, he was safe. That's good. Safe until he ran away. Yeah, there should be a comma there. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he was safe until he ran away. That's good. That's so good, right? So I'm going to call on Linda Simmons. Can you help me? Oh, Linda, sorry, you're driving.
No, no,
Um,
no. I'm for Linda Simon.
oh, Linda Simon. I'm sorry, I said
And
Simon.
look,
Oh, I thought you were driving. I'm sorry.
yeah, I am. I am. But my phone is on the, is in the. Before they left home, they had football practice.
Oh, that's good.
Look, I already studied that one because I figured you was probably gonna call.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So I'm going to call on Leodimero. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it well.
Slaudamiro.
Laudemiro. Yes. So I'm going to call on Laudemiro to help us with the last one.
Uh, he was a good sport wherever life took him.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Can you say it again?
He was a that's an old phrase. He was a good sport.
It was a good what?
Sport, a good man, a
Oh,
good. No. Let's start over. He had a
oh,
good personality.
ah, wherever life took him, right?
Yeah.
That's good. So that's it, right? That's it. So now let's go to the next part. So the next part is we'll be talking about relative clauses. Relative clauses are subordinate slash dependent clauses that behave like an adjective. They help describe or identify a noun phrase. Words such as whom, who, that, whose, which help modify a noun phrase. For instance, who ate the food, right? So I know in some cases this could be a complete sentence if it's representing a question, who ate the food. But there are times that some people might just put period, who ate the food. That's not a complete sentence. Whose brother entered the house, whom I addressed continually, that I enjoyed, which are the pool. Does this sound meaningful to you all? Does this sound like like all these sentences? Do they sound like a complete sentence? Do they look grammatically complete?
No.
No.
No, no, they don't. All right. So relative clauses should be changed into complete sentences by adding a noun phrase or an independent clause to the front of the clause and the predicates to the back. Right? So we would understand that. So let's look at this, right? So we had this who ate the food, right, as the first sentence here. So we look at it as the boy who ate the food, right? So we had the boy, noun phrase, who ate the food, ran away, and then we had the predicates. So we added the noun phrase to the front, right? And then this is the relative clause, who ate the food, and then ran away is the predicate. So all you just need, when you have sentences like this, or when you see sentences like this, all you just need to add is the noun phrase to the front and then the predicates to the back, in most cases, right? So we have here, whose brother entered the house, right? If you look at this, whose, so we have the singer, sorry, so we have the singer whose brother entered the house was arrested. We added a noun phrase, was arrested, and a predicate. Get it? So the doctor whom I addressed continually did not respond. All right. So whom I addressed continually. Whom I addressed continually. So the doctor had a noun phrase and then a predicate to the back. Did not respond. All right. So we visited the house which are the pools. So in some cases, when you have the a relative clause that starts with which, all right, all you just need to do is add an independent clause to the front. All right, I don't know why I wrote NP here, so it should be independent. So just add independent clause to the front. All right, we visited the house which are the pool, right? So we add which are the pool here as a relative clause or an incomplete statement, right? But if you come down here, which are the pool, all you just need to add is an independent clause. So that's only for relative clauses that starts with which, right? So I remember the food that I enjoyed. I remembered the food that I enjoyed. Can someone tell me where is the relative clause here in this sentence? Anybody?
That I enjoyed.
The food
Good.
that okay, yeah, the food.
That I enjoyed. That's the relative clause.
Okay.
All right. So I remembered the food that I enjoyed. So all you just need to do is add the independent clause. So same thing with which here. All you just need to do is, I'm sorry. All you just need to do is add the independent clause. All right. So this right here is the relative clause. C, and this right here is the independent clause. Right. So that's it. I remember the food that I enjoyed. So now let's go to predicates. Predicates. So we talked about what a predicate is earlier, right? And so I just want you to know that I've found several students that start their sentences with a verb. And I'm sure we all know that, we all should know that we shouldn't start a sentence with a verb. Because if you start your sentence with a verb, it makes the sentence an incomplete sentence. So then, as we have studied so far, a predicate is a verb and other items that comes after the subject. Sorry, that comes after the verb. However, it is important to know that a statement that is a predicate is not a sentence. So a predicate is not a sentence. we should note that. So where we have here, so we have my yard is now quiet. So this is a predicate. So what if I just have is now quiet? Is this a complete sentence? Is now quiet?
No.
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 Yeah. So that's not a complete sentence because it's starting with a verb. A verb cannot start a sentence. All right. So what if I take this out, right? Flew south. Is that a complete sentence? Flew south. No.
No.
Yeah. So let's all be careful about that. Let's all make sure we always revise that because we all can still make those kinds of mistakes, starting our sentences with a verb. So let's come down here, predicates. So now look at this example, driving to the mall. Is that a complete sentence?
No.
No,
No,
but
'cause
what?
you said it shouldn't be a verb in front.
Exactly. Very good. Can someone tell me
What if
what's
I
the
say,
verb?
what if I say while driving to the mall, I ran into my best friend? Can I say that?
Yeah, but yeah, you can say that.
Okay.
But remember that the verb is not starting the sentence. While is starting the sentence.
Yes.
Exactly. But in this case, the verb is starting the sentence. All right. So, entering the car. Can someone tell me what's the verb in this sentence?
Entering.
Exactly. Right. So all this here are welcomed into the office. Is not going home anytime soon. Those are all incomplete sentences. You shouldn't write that in your essays. All right. So let's all be careful about that. We can still make some mistakes. Now, students make the mistakes of writing predicates or representing predicates as a sentence when they are writing according to the way they speak. Right? So there are times, when we are talking, sometimes we just, when we are communicating with our friends, families, we don't really need to put the subject. Right? Where is your brother going to? I mean, where is your brother driving to? You might reply that question with driving to the mall. You don't have to say he's driving to the mall. All right? That's when you're speaking to your friends or your family. But then when you're writing an academic essay, your sentences must be grammatically complete. All right? So you can say he is driving to the mall. The students are entering the car, so now let's look at this. So the corrections are here. He's driving to the mall. The students are entering the car. The choir sang to the elephant. Right? They consulted the doctor. So where you have consulted here, they consulted the doctor. The professors congratulated the graduates. Right? So can someone help me here with support? Supports a decision. So since we all know this is not a complete sentence, how would you revise that sentence? Abigail, can you help me? Abigail, are you in? Okay. So I'll just call on yeah, Janine, can you help me with it?
Sure. Um. Let's see. I'm trying to think. David's. No. Hold on. Supports her decision. Goodness gracious, I just had it. Supports her decision. The teacher supports her decision.
Very good. The teacher supports a decision. Very good. Yeah. So that's it. So let's all just be watchful. Now let's go to compound noun phrases. Right? So there's what we call compound noun phrases. So there are times a noun can have just a noun, there are times a noun phrase can have more than just a determiner and a noun, right? A noun phrase can also like take a relative clause. A noun phrase can also take a preposition, a prepositional phrase. A noun phrase can also take a relative clause and a prepositional phrase altogether. But then I'll explain what I mean here. So, sometimes the noun phrase in a sentence can be in compound form. In most cases, the compound form could be when a noun phrase is added to a prepositional phrase. That's number one. When a noun phrase is added to a relative clause, or when a noun phrase is added to a relative clause and an adverbial clause altogether. However, these statements should be regarded as incomplete sentences. They are not complete sentences. So let's look at this. The boy who ate the food. Is this a complete sentence? No.
No.
Exactly. So it's not, because we have the boy noun phrase who ate the food. That should be a relative clause right there. So I'm going to call on I'm coming. Linda Simon, can you help me? The boy who ate the food. Um how would you complete this sentence?
The boy who ate the food threw up.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So sometimes all you just need to do is add a predicate. Right? Just add a predicate. The boy who ate the food threw up. All right. And then now we have the students in the car. Is this a complete sentence? The students in the car.
No.
No. So, Laudemiro, can you help me with that? How would I complete this?
I would say the students are in the car.
Yeah, you can say that. And how else can you do it?
Or the students in the car arrived earlier.
Ooh, that's good. All right, that's good. Sorry. Right? So that's good. So what of this? The students who left the building before the bell rang. Is that a complete sentence? This is tricky.
The student who left the building before the bell rang. No.
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 No. That's correct. It's not. All right. Tracy, can you help me complete this sentence?
Let me see. Student who left the building before the bell rang.
Mm-hmm.
The student who left the building before the bell rang to go to the principal's office.
That's still an incomplete
Yeah.
sentence.
I was trying to think of something to put in front of it.
So, yeah, remember, just put a predicate. That's all. All you just need is a predicate. That's a verb and any other. The students. Okay, so remember, how would you answer this? So the student who left the building before the bell rang, what were they doing? Just creatively, just think of something. What could they be
They
doing?
were in class before they left before the bell rang.
All right, the students who left the building before the bell rang were what?
Were in class.
Were in class. That's good. All right? All you just need is a predicate. We're in class.
I got it now.
Yeah. So I have here the boy who ate the food is bold. Right? So you can have the boy who ate the food is bold. So all you just need to add is a predicate. And then you have that compound noun. The crew warned the boy who ate the food. You can put something right at the front too. The students in the car went for a party.
Mm-hmm.
right? The students in the car went for a party. And then you can also have they investigated the students in the car. You can also put you can also put a subject and a verb right at the front. Right? So you can put a predicate at the back and then a subject and the verb right at the front. So those are two ways of revising. Either you put a predicate at the back or you put a subject and a verb right at the front. Now let's go to I think this is the last one, infinitival clauses. Now infinitival clauses are basically clauses that starts with the word to, right? To. So to followed by a verb, right? So that's what. So infinitival clauses are clauses that have the word that starts with the word to followed by verb. Sometimes a noun phrase would also follow the verb, right? So we have, for example, to climb the tree, to finish his assignment. So we have to, the infinitival word, and then we have, or sometimes to is also called a preposition. So to, and then we have the verb climb, and then we have the noun phrase, the tree. Right? To climb the tree. Does this sound complete? To climb the tree?
No.
No.
No. Right? To finish his assignment. Does that sound complete? No.
No.
Yeah. To improve our grades? No. So let's look at this now. So we have here, so to turn the dependent clause into a sentence, either add a subject and a verb before the statement or add a predicate after the statement. Just like what we have here for the compound noun phrase. So we have he went to climb the tree. So to climb the tree here, right? He wanted to climb the tree. So we just added a subject and a verb to the front. But then you can have to climb the tree was his desire. Right? Could just be to climb the tree was his desire. So we just added the predicate. He wished to finish his assignment. He wished. Alright, so to finish his assignment, we just added a subject and a verb. Alright, but then to finish his assignment, he left the party. Right, so this is actually a further explanation. So now to finish his assignment, he left the party. So one other thing you can always do is just add another independent clause.
Can you put it in the front? He left the party to finish his assignment.
Yes, you can do that. He left. That's a good one. He left the party to finish. So that's a good one. Yeah, that's good. All right. So it depends on what sounds good to you in some cases, all right? But most of the time, I think this suggestion you made is what your professor will prefer because it's concise.
Mhm.
Like if I were a professor grading, I'll be looking for sentences like this because it's concise. But because we're just talking about grammatical rules, so I just have to add those long sentences. So she worked hard to improve her grades, right? To improve her grades, she worked hard.
Yeah.
Right? So basically, these on their own, these sentences here on their own do not sound, these clauses on their own cannot be called a complete sentence, right? So now let's now go to the practical aspects. So now let's go to fragments, right? Now the idea is this, with all you've learned so far, you should be able to find and revise fragments. Right? Again, you don't need to know what fragment means before you know how to revise a fragment. All you need to know is the part of speech. All you need to know is the grammatical rules. All you just need to know is grammar rules, right? And then you'll be able to find and revise fragments. But then let's just define what a fragment is. A fragment error occurs when a subject dependent clause, So a fragment occurs when a subject dependent clause, prepositional phrase, predicate, and transitive verb are written as if they are sentences. Right? We already talked about this. A subject, if you write a subject alone or a noun phrase alone, it's not a sentence, right? If you write a dependent clause, that's not a complete sentence. If you write a prepositional phrase, it's not a complete sentence. Right? Now, since we have studied various kinds of incomplete and complete sentence, let's practice some quizzes to learn about fragments. All right. So now, I want you all to answer this. So let's look at this statement here. Right? Is there a fragment here or not? Let's look at this number 1. Is there a fragment here? I'll call on Janine.
Okay. Let's see. It could be really embarrassing to be so emotional. So, let's see. All right. Embarrassing is your verb, right?
Yes.
Okay. I guess with all right. To be so emotional. Let's see. All right. Can I see the whole? Oh, you okay? Let me see the whole sentence for a second. I think your
All right.
picture is. Thank you.
Oh,
That's okay. It can be really embarrassing to be so emotional, especially when you're on your first date. You feel that you should be in control. Yes, it can be really embarrassing to be so emotional. And then can you put a comma, right? I guess
no, that's a period.
that's a period, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, hmm.
So these are like 2 sentences right here.
Right, it is 2 sentences. Yes. Okay. All right. Embarrassing is your verb.
Mm-hmm.
I guess to be so emotional or would be your to be so emotional would be it's one of the clauses that we just went over,
Yeah.
right? Which
Yeah.
would make it right.
So is this a complete sentence?
It can be really embarrassing to be so emotional. Yes.
Correct. It's a complete sentence. Correct. So now let's look at this. Especially when you're on your first date, you feel that you should be in control. Is that complete?
That is not complete.
Why?
You should have a word before the I would think before the especially. Let me see. I would put a word. I would put something in
Before?
front of, especially when you're
Yeah.
on your date.
Yeah. So actually it's complete. Remember, right? It doesn't have to be in
Okay.
front. It can also be at the back.
Or back.
Especially when you're on your first date. Now we have the independent clause at the front. You feel that you
Okay.
should be in control. So this statement here, you feel that you should be in control, already completes this. All right.
Right. Wait a minute. You're saying okay. You're saying you feel that you should be in control,
Yeah.
meaning after it can be really embarrassing to be so emotional. You
Yeah.
feel that you should be in control.
Exactly.
Okay.
Laudemiro, can you help us with the second one?
Um, the first sentence is complete. The second is incomplete.
Okay, let's look at that. The magazine has a reputation for sophisticated, prestigious, and elite group of readers. Yes, complete, you're correct. Although that is a value judgment and in circumstances not a true premise. Incomplete, you're correct. Although that is starts with the word although, right?
Right.
Although that is a value judgment and in circumstances not a true premise, so what, right?
Right.
Correct. So Tracy, can you help me with the third one? In the 7th grade, yeah, the third one. So there are 2 sentences here. Oh, sorry, Tracy, you can't hear you.
In the 7th grade, every young boy goes out.
Tracy, you're mute again. Sorry.
In the 7th grade, every young boy goes out for football
Mm-hmm.
to prove to himself and his parents that he is a man. In the 7th grade, every young boy goes out to football is a complete sentence.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now let's go to the second one.
To prove to himself and his parents that he is a man.
Complete or incomplete?
I guess it could be a complete sentence.
Hmm.
But I mean, my question, well, you know me and my thinking, my thought process. So I'm like, why? You know, proving that you are a man.
Yeah, but if you look at it
It's not
grammatically,
complete. To prove to himself.
exactly, it's incomplete. You're correct.
Mhm.
This is incomplete. To
Mhm.
prove to himself and his parents that he is a man. That's incomplete. Doesn't sound so. Let's imagine this was not here. If you just write this alone, it would not make sense. To
No.
prove, yeah, it won't make grammatical sense. Yeah. All right, let's look at number 6. Linda Simon, can you help us? Nico Rob. Oh, Linda, are you here?
Yes.
All right, can you help us with the 6th one?
Okay. As if she's lonely and just wants to be alone. As if that sounds like me talking. She also looks as if she has seen a lot and experienced. No.
So which
As
of them?
if she's lonely. No, that's not complete.
Correct.
As if yeah, because no.
Yeah, as if she's lonely and just wants to be
I'm
alone.
confused.
Yeah, so that's incomplete right there.
Yeah,
You're
that's
asking,
incomplete.
so what? Okay. As if she's lonely and just wants to be alone. And again, this is a preposition right here.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
yes, as if, yes.
So you should always suspect sentences that starts with a preposition. Right. And then she also looks as if she has seen a lot and experienced a lot of things. Is that complete or incomplete?
That's complete.
Yeah, correct. That's complete.
Yeah,
That's
that's
good.
complete.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's look at this, right? And I want you all to do something for me. So this is a sentence, right? This is a sentence. And then on the chat room, right? So on the chat room, I want you all to just type in the chat room, I just want you all to type in the sentence number that has a fragment. That is a fragment. So in the chat,
Mm-hmm.
so this is sentence 1. As you can see, I labeled them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we have 8. I know there is no 7 there, but it's 8. So just tell me which of this, if it's sentence 1, just write 1. If you think it's sentence 2, 2. If you think it's sentence 3 and 4, write 3 and 4. All right. So we have 2 minutes to do that. Right, Janine? Six. All right. Someone said, all right. So we have, okay, so now fragments, right? I said we should look for the fragments, right? The incomplete sentences or statements. So I think from what I see here, the only one that is incomplete is six, just six. So Laudamiro, yeah, almost everybody said six. Yeah. Nicole said six. Almost everybody said six. Yeah, that's good, right? So we have it's just six. Number four, I see some people saying number four. Number four is not. Remember, this is an intransitive verb. Grew. Eventually, ancient cities grew. That's all you need to know, right? So that's a complete sentence right there. Number four is complete, right?
I misread. I put two, but I misread two because I didn't know. I guess it's Jose. Jose was one word was China. I was thinking it's
Yeah.
those.
Though.
So now I
Oh.
reread it as I was looking over it, and I'm like, no, that is a complete sentence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And number two, yeah, you're right. So number two is not. That's a complete sentence. Now, okay, so let's do this again, right? Let's check. Let's look at this quiz, right? 1 minute, please. So we have this here. Can someone type in the chat box?
Okay. Can you move your picture because you're blocking some of the words, if you don't mind, please?
Oh, actually, you're the one that should move it. Sorry, not me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. All right, we have just 1 more minute.
Okay.
All right, no, sir. All right, let's see. I have 3, 7, 9, 11.
Laudemiro, do you want to mute?
No.
It's all right.
uh,
We're only doing the ones that you highlighted, correct? I guess I can bold
No, you
red.
can do 12, 13, and 14. Yes,
Oh,
please do
okay.
12, 13, and
Okay.
14. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, 30 more seconds. Okay. Right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. All right. Okay, let's do this. So now looking at this, let's look at this. The new urbanism movement is a reaction against older suburban areas. Correct. Number one is complete. After World War II, architects designed suburbs that relied heavily on car.
Mm-hmm.
Complete. Number two is complete. Living in traditional suburbs. That's incomplete. Number three is incomplete.
Right.
Number four, most people must drive to the city centers to go to work. Four is complete.
Yes.
The commute causes traffic congestions and air pollution. Five is complete. Suburban dwellers waste a lot of time. Six is complete. That's good. I see that most of you didn't choose six. That's good. That's good. Now, seven, traveling in their cars. That's incomplete.
Complete. Right.
Yeah, I see that most of you chose 3 and 7 as incomplete. That's good. Awesome. Urban sprawl also creates problems for people who do not drive. Complete. Number 8 is complete. 9, limiting their daily activities. Limiting their daily activities. 9 is incomplete. Correct. I see most of you chose that. That's good. Non-drivers must find other means of transport.
Complete.
Complete. Correct. And to do errands downtown or at the mall. 11 is incomplete.
Complete. Right.
Yeah, I see most of you chose that. Good job, good job. And then to create people-friendly neighborhoods. Complete or incomplete?
Incomplete.
Incomplete. Yes, because it's starting with two and
Right.
followed by a verb, infinitival clause. Urban planners design self-contained neighborhood. Oh, sorry, I didn't even point to this. All right, let's leave that alone. To limit the use of cars. That's incomplete. Believing in the need to curb urban sprawl. That's incomplete. 14 is incomplete. All right, you all did a good job actually. Again, this lesson here is showing you two things, right? It's showing you that you are able to recognize fragment errors. From what I see here, you all have the capability to recognize fragment errors. Now, number two, you all just need to spend more time revising your essays before submitting. The problem is not that you don't know the errors. You all know the errors. You know how the errors look like, right? But you all just need to spend time finding those errors. You all need to spend time revising your essays, right? So if you spend time revising your essays, you'll be able to like find those errors. All right, let's look at the last one. All right, let's do this one. I think this is the last one on. Oh, we have two more. All right, let's do this. All right, so find the fragments. For this, we have just 1 minute. Forty-five seconds. All right, remember for this quiz, you're looking for the incomplete sentence. Incomplete.
Mhm. Mm.
Mm. All right, 10 more seconds, everyone. 10. Okay, let's do this. So number one, I'm sorry, I don't know there. I see some some typographical errors here. So for number one, seaside was easy to be because the area did not have traditional rules. So there's supposed to be a period here. So that was a typo. So they were for developing land. So number one is complete,
Mhm.
right? And now number two, for instance, no zoning regulation, incomplete,
Right.
right? And
Mhm.
then the buildings in the town have uniform designs. That's complete. Number
Complete.
four, they all have certain features. Number four is complete.
Mhm.
I see that you all, that's good. Porches, for example, must be 16 feet from the sidewalk. Complete. Number six is complete.
Mhm.
Also, the streets, that's
Mhm.
incomplete.
Right.
They must be made of bricks so cars cannot speed. It's complete.
Complete. Mhm.
Number nine, other towns are based on the same principles. Other towns are based on the same principles. That's complete.
Okay.
Especially Celebration, Florida. Number 10 is incomplete. Very good.
Okay.
I see that you all got number 10. That's good. Good, good, good. Yeah. All right, let's look at this one because they are all different kinds of fragments. So let's just look at this last one on fragment and then we'll go to run on. 1 minute for this. Right? 15 seconds. All right, let's look at this. All right, I see some of you have 247, 247, 27, Tracy Reed. All right, and 247, Janine Laudemiro, 247. So we have some people criticize the idea of Levittown, complete. Two, because all the houses looked similar, incomplete, correct. There were only 4 different house styles, complete. Number three is complete. Although it began with the premise of affordable housing for everyone, incomplete. Yes. So we have Levittown initially did not permit non-whites to buy houses in the community.
Complete.
Complete. Eventually, Levittown abandoned its white-only policy. Complete.
Complete.
Number 8. in 1957, the first African Americans to buy a house in Levittown, Pennsylvania were Bill and W. Daisy Myers. Were Bill and W. Daisy Myers. That's complete. 7. Who had rocks thrown at them by the other residents. That's incomplete. 7 is incomplete.
Right.
Correct. Wow, you all are doing great. Now let's go to run-on sentences quickly. Now, run-on sentences, this is when two or more sentences are incompletely joined, right? Or when two or more sentences are joined together to form one sentence. You can't join two sentences together except you are using a conjunction to join them or a semicolon, right? But you don't just join two sentences together. So there are two kinds of run-on sentences. So there are fused sentence error. So we have what we call the fused sentence error, and then we have what we call the comma splice error. Fused sentence error, this is when no punctuation mark is used to break two or more simple sentences or a complete grammatical idea. For example, so we have this, in 1790, George Washington moved the capital from New York to the District of Columbia. He chose Perry Lafon to plan the city. Right? He chose Perry Lafon to plan the city. So we have this here, right? But then we have two sentences joined together.
Should have said, and he chose.
Exactly. And he chose. Right?
Right.
So we have the first sentence is, can someone tell me what's the first sentence here?
The first sentence in 1790, George Washington moved the capital from New York to the District of Columbia.
Correct. That's the first sentence. The second sentence is he chose Perry Lafon to plan the city. Now look at this. Gregory won the award. He was happy. Gregory won the award. He was happy.
Can we put a comma after the word?
Yes, we can put it, but actually it's not supposed to be a comma. It's supposed to be a semicolon, not a comma.
Oh, okay.
Because it's another complete sentence.
Okay.
Right? So we should just put a semicolon. So we have the first complete sentence here is Gregory won the award. And then we have he was happy as the second complete sentence. Now a comma splice error is when a comma instead of a period is used to separate two sentences or complete grammatical errors, complete grammatical ideas, right? So when you're writing a sentence, right, to show that a sentence has ended, to show that you have concluded a sentence, what punctuation mark do you use? Tracy? A what?
A period.
A period. Yeah. But in this case, this student is using a comma, right? So that's what makes it a comma splice error, right? So the boy ran into the room, comma, he felt ashamed, right? So this is one sentence, this is another sentence. So what can we do to correct this both sentences here?
Semicolon.
You can use a semicolon, that's good. And what else?
What is it? The boy ran into the bathroom because he felt ashamed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. You can actually add a subordinating conjunction.
Conjunction, right. Okay.
Yeah, because he felt ashamed. That's good. All right. So and then you can use a semicolon and then or you can add a subordinating conjunction. Correct. So now let's look at this. The cornerstone was laid in 1792. Many people came to watch the construction. So what do you do here? What's the first sentence?
The cornerstone was laid in 1792.
Correct. And what's the second sentence?
Many people came to watch the construction.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I
So
guess you would do a semicolon there, right?
yeah, you
I
can
guess
put a
you would do-
semicolon there. Yeah. Or what else can you do?
You can put a period and start a new sentence.
Yes, you can put a period. Yes. What other thing can you do? You can also put a conjunction and.
And many people can
Yes.
select it.
Exactly. All right. So that's it. So now let's look at this quiz here. It says American soldiers fought courageously in the Vietnam War. The war was controversial. So can let me call Vladimiro. Can you help me with this sentence? How do you revise it? How would you revise it?
I would say American soldiers fought courageously in the Vietnam War. Period. The war was controversial. Or the American soldiers fought courageously in the Vietnam War, although the war was controversial.
Ooh, that's good. I like that. Although the war was controversial. That's good.
Could you put a
Okay.
semicolon there as
Yeah,
well too?
yeah, yeah. Yes. Oh, you mean to separate it?
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't put a semicolon because
No.
both ideas are different.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Understood.
So American soldiers fought, but then you should put a semicolon before although. All right?
Okay.
Because and then you put a comma after although.
Right. Okay.
So let's look at the second one. So I'll call on Janin. Can you help me? A Vietnam War veteran, Jan Scruggs, pressured Congress to build a memorial. He wanted to recognize the valor of American soldiers.
Okay. Well, the first sentence is a Vietnam War veteran, Jan Scruggs, pressured Congress to build a memorial. Period. Correct?
Yeah,
Hold on. Vietnam War veteran, Jan Scruggs, pressured Congress to build a memorial because he wanted to recognize the valor
I like
of
that.
American soldiers.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's so good. Right? That's so good. All right, let's look at this one. A competition. Tracy, you're gonna help us with the. Okay, let's do the last one. Maya, this.
Maya Lynn was only an undergraduate architect student. She won the competition. Maya Lynn was the only undergraduate architect student, period.
Good. She won. So what other way? Do you have any other idea for
You
us?
could put, and she won the competition,
Can put and one or any other way.
semicolon.
No, you can't use it.
Can't do that, okay.
Yeah,
Comma,
no, you can't do that. No, you can't use a comma.
okay,
The comma will be wrong because that will be a comma splice.
got you.
So why don't you? We can also say although.
In the front, okay.
Yeah. Remember, you can always. This is just revision. You can tweak it as you want. All right. Although, sorry, not comma. Although Mayalin was only an undergraduate architect, that this is where you now put your comma. Because you have although here, so you put the comma.
Gotcha.
All right. So let's look at this. Let me call on Nicole Roberts. Are you here?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Please, can you help us with this part? Can you help us to edit it or revise it?
Okay. Art Nouveau and Art Deco styles were very popular in the early 1900s, period. Move that comma
Yeah.
and then put a period after 1900s.
Nice.
Le Corbusier wanted to design in a bold new approach. Bold, when you put a comma after bold, between bold and new, or no?
No, you don't need to put that. Yeah, but this is correct. Correct. Very good. Do you have any other method for this? For
I think that was very popular in 1900s. Could you not put a semicolon behind 1900s?
no, except you want to add like how we did although here.
Okay.
So do you want to
Although
add
Art
some?
Nouveau was styles, 1900s. Because Art Nouveau and Art Deco were styles were very popular in the 1900s. But
Yeah, you're
no.
correct. You can start with because Art Nouveau. Sorry, because Art Nouveau and Art Deco styles were very popular in the 1900s, comma, Le Corbusier wanted to design in a new approach.
Okay.
Yeah, can also do that, right? I'll call on Janine. Can you help us with the last one?
Okay. Corbusier became known as the leader of the international style after he expressed his views on architecture in pamphlets, articles, and books. Le Corbusier became known as the leader of the international style.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
already. I'm sorry, that's already answered. Let's just do this. Um, let's do this.
Okay. Generate changed his name to Le Corbusier because he wanted to reinvent himself.
That's so good. Yeah, so that's it. Right? So that's how to like correct run-on sentences. Right? So let's look at this. Let's look at this one here. I think this is the last one for tonight, last quiz for tonight. So just tell me 1 minute, please. So just put in the chat room the sentence you think is a run-on sentence. Two more minutes. All right, 1 more minute. 30 more seconds and we'll be done. Oh, I see that you all are. Oh, I think we'll be waiting on Linda and Nicole.
Okay.
All right, so let's look at this. So, number one, the Chinese Revolution dominated politics. China's government developed policies to minimize the class difference. Yes, number one is a run-on. All right, let me see how many of you chose number one. 1 minute, please. Yes, you all chose number one. Yeah, number one. As a result, new buildings were designed for utility with no regards. Number two, no. Now China is industrializing at a great rate. Business are asking architects to design practical but beautiful buildings. Number three is a run-on sentence. Wow, only Tracy chose number three.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I didn't put it on
Oh,
there.
you didn't put it on? Okay.
No, yeah, but I do have it written down. Yes, it is a run-on.
Yeah, number three is a run-on. The National Theatre building, for example, is controversial. It is also intriguing. Number six is a run-on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Nobody chose. I don't see anybody choosing number six here.
I
Oh yeah,
do.
yeah.
All
Tracy.
my, I'm
Really? That's
sorry,
funny.
this is
I really didn't
Nicole.
notice
All of
that.
mine went to Laudemere. Laud- Laud-
Oh,
All of my answers somehow it went to a private chat. I'm sorry.
okay. Wow, wow.
Mhm.
I
You
chose 6.
yes, you chose six, Tracy. So this is what you can do for me, right? Sorry, 1 minute. So what you can do is, go to your chat. Yes, good. Exactly. So number six is a run-on. Number seven, it was designed by French architect Paul Andrew. Many people have criticized its design. Number seven is a run-on. It's shaped like an egg. Number nine, it's not a run-on. That's good. But Janine, you chose number nine. It's not a run-on. It has three halls and a lake. It has a bridge. Number eight is a run-on. Another highly discussed building in Beijing is the CCTV Tower. Number 10 is not a run-on. Tracy, you chose number 10. It's not a run-on. It looks like the letter Z. Many Chinese think it is an eyesore. This 11 is a run-on. That's good. That's good. That's good. You all chose 11. The Beijing skyline has changed. Not everybody has liked the changes. Number 12 is a run-on. That's good.
Mhm.
Only Nicole chose that, but that's good. Number 12 is a run-on. Because as you can see here, everyone, we have like the Beijing skyline has changed. Should be a period here.
Right.
Not everyone has liked the changes.
Mhm.
Then number 13, in China, some people complain about the ugly architecture. Others believe the new building is beautiful. Number 13 is a run-on. Correct. Nicole chose 13. Who else chose 13? Nobody else. Was it because of the time?
No, I don't think I
Yeah,
have to
partly.
begin to
It's
see.
getting a little tired too.
Yeah. So so number 13 is a run-on. In China, so let me just separate this sentence. Let's look at it. Right? In China, some people complain about the ugly architecture. Others believe the new building is beautiful. Right? So,
Mhm.
Janine, can you help me out? Where is the first sentence in this?
In China, some people complain about the ugly architecture.
Exactly.
Right.
Period.
Or
Yeah.
you could see, right, and others believe the new building
Uh,
is beautiful, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Or you can say but, not and, but.
But right,
Yeah,
but okay.
exactly. But others. So that's good.
But we
Yeah.
could also solve it with a semicolon, right?
Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are related, they're connected.
Right.
Yeah, so that's good. So that's just the key. Again, Janine has proven to me that you all know how to revise fragments and run-ons. You all just need to take time to revise it, right? I know I didn't give you all, good amount of time to revise, but one thing about fragment and run-on is that we can easily bypass those errors when we are revising, right? So that's why the next thing I'll just tell you, I'll just give you all 4 principles, right, for revising and finding fragment sentences and run-on sentences, right? So the first one is start do sorry do not start writing assignments in the last minute. All right? Do not start writing assignments in the last minute. Right? Do not start writing assignments in the last minute. That's very important. Take online fragment and run-on sentence quizzes. Now, you should practice it, right? There are free online fragment and run-on quizzes on Google, right? So just search for them, right? You will find enough. Now, why should you take these quizzes? So you should take these quizzes to just train your brain on, to find those errors, right? So when you're taking those quizzes, right, maybe every day, right? So when you're about to write your essays or when you're revising your academic essays, you'll be able to find those errors because your brain is already trained to find those errors. All right. So read your sentences slow and aloud. Now, that's the biggest rule of all. When you are revising fragments, don't read it the way I was reading it just now or the way I was reading it earlier, right? I was like, the Chinese Revolution dominated politics. China's government developed policies to minimize class differences. No, don't read it that way, right? Read it slowly and aloud, right? When you're revising your essays, read them slowly and aloud. The Chinese Revolution dominated politics. China's government developed policies to minimize class differences. Now, while I'm reading slowly, it's easy for me to find the error, right? So read slowly. And then the last one, make sure you have read your essay at least 2 times before submitting. Right? Make sure you read your essay at least 2 times before submitting. So that also presupposes the idea that you should not start writing your assignments in the last minute. Try as much as possible to, well, I won't say not to procrastinate, but try as much as possible to manage your time well in a way that will give you space or time to revise your essays. All right. So you don't just want to, revise your essay. You want to also revise your essay effectively. And to revise your essays effectively, you would need sufficient time. All right. You need sufficient time. So any questions?
It's not the question I have per se. It's just, are you going to be sharing those notes with us?
That's
Yes.
my question. Yes.
Yes, very correct. You're very correct. So I'm going to be sharing the notes with you all. Right. You're going to get it from me by Monday or maybe this weekend. You should get an email from the Ally Center. All right. So the email will contain this video and then the notes.
All right, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. You're
Thank you. I
welcome.
don't have a question, but I wanted to say awesome, teaching. And by you teaching it like this, I can see the mistakes and see it, but when you're alone and you're doing it by yourself, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
agree.
That's why, I'm glad you have the video. I can just constantly keep, listen to the video. But I mean, I can see where it's wrong and where it's right, but it's just you alone and it seems like your mind just, like you say, it
Yeah.
sounds good to me.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why so I'll just tell you my story before we go quickly. So when I came to America 6 years ago, right? Honestly, I didn't know how to write because I learned English the British style, right? So the American style is so different. So I was making a lot of fragment errors. A lot. Fragment errors, I had a lot of those in my papers. Run On, I had a lot. But then my professor helped me out. Like he told me to he helped me to take weekly quizzes. He conducted weekly quizzes with me every week on fragments and run-ons. Every week I was conducting quizzes. I was taking quizzes on run-on and fragments sentence. And that's what helped me, right? So the best thing, right, before you even write your essay, right, Linda, I would just advise that try to take some of those quizzes, those free quizzes online. Prepare yourself to revise your essays by
Okay.
taking free quizzes
Okay. I will do
online.
that.
Yeah. And again, relax when you're revising, relax and read slowly and aloud. Don't no, don't do that. Don't even try it, right? And don't try to read it in your mind, right? We do that sometimes,
Yes.
right? Don't
Yes.
do that. Read it aloud. And when I say aloud, I mean like aloud, like very loud. Like the person in the next room should hear you, you know. So read it aloud and slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank
that's what you
you.
should do. And
Thank you,
again, the last
Professor.
tip is this. I'm sorry I didn't say it. The last tip is this for you, Linda, and every other person that might be going through the same issues Linda just talked about. You can print it out, print out your paper. Don't read it from your computer. Don't read straight from your computer. You should print out your essay and revise it. So before you print out, increase the font size, maybe like to 16 or 18,
Okay.
right? And then print it out and edit your paper on
Okay.
on hard copy.
Okay. That's
That's
good.
one thing you can do. Yeah. All right,
That's good.
everyone. Yeah, you're
Okay.
welcome. You're welcome.
And
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
Thank you,
everyone.
Professor.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
You
You
as
too.
well. Have a
Sleep
blessed
tight.
one.
All right. Thank
You
you.
too. All right.
All right. Nice meeting you all.
Likewise. Take care.
All right.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Thanks, Professor.
Bye, Tracy.
See you next week.
See you next week. Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Wow. Bye.